Hi, I'm Linda OJ.
And I'm Aaron Espindola.
Welcome to the new episode of the Next Gen Business Podcast.
Let's go.
The Next Gen Business Podcast is produced by the Small Business Community Network. Visit them online at www.sbcncanada.org.
So, Aaron, we've got a really great topic tonight. Thinking about all the students going back to universities and college, whether there's a pandemic or not, there's always a lot of mental health issues with all ages. But I've been reading more about the students and their mental health challenges and issues.
Yeah, I think it's a really important topic. It's one that a lot of people kind of find a little bit uncomfortable to speak about, especially if you are one of those students that are suffering. But it's something that a lot of young adults need to kind of confront and speak on, because it is affecting a lot of students, especially when they're just starting their university careers or starting off as students or their careers. Just all that added stress of not knowing your job or not knowing what your program is and just getting to the hang of things. It causes a lot of stress, and I think stress is one of those leading factors that kind of puts into question your mental health. So it's really nice that we're going to be talking about this subject today for all our listeners.
So, I mean, you were a student at Conestoga College. Does the student council or anything like that, do they, at the beginning of the year, talk about mental health at all and where you can go for help, in the college, say?
Yeah, so at my college, I went to Conestoga College in Kitchener. I was in the main campus. So when I first started school, there's a big emphasis on mental health awareness and making sure that students knew where to go to if they did need help. I know there's counseling services, and if you pay your CSI fee, which is just the constant, just a fee that you have to pay in the beginning, I think it's all free, but I don't actually know if you don't pay it. I don't know if you have to pay for that or anything, but because I paid my fee, it was only $40 for the year. I had access to all those services, and they made slideshows and stuff like that, and they would do little events and have people handing out flyers for the mental health stuff, which was really nice.
Oh, I guess not just with students, every age, I think, has a challenge when they admit they have a mental health issue, because the stigma attached to it, which is a shame, because struggling in silence is not a great idea, is it? It's best to seek someone out and talk to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in my generation, at least kind of high school through college, it wasn't there. The stigma wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad anymore. I don't know how it was in your generation, but for me, it was they put a lot of emphasis on making sure to talk, speak out, and all that stuff. And yeah, I don't think there is as much of a negative stigma to it today. Was there in your generation, or?
It wasn't talked about in my generation. People just, obviously, unless you know about it, you don't talk about it. So no, it just wasn't talked about. But then as I've matured and become a mom, obviously it's more out there. But some people, as I say, are very unsure whether to share with their friends or even in the workplace. But I know that you can't be, or you shouldn't be, penalised in the workplace today if they have mental health issues. It is against maybe the law, I don't know, and it would be a shame if it was penalised. So recognising some mental health issues, I guess you've got a little bit of information, have you, on this topic?
Yeah, so I was doing a quick little search to see just a little bit about mental health in our age group and all that. And I saw that 40% of students in college experience a significant mental health issue. And then half of mental health issues actually begin at age 14, and then it increases to 75% beginning at age 24. So that those are times when you just get introduced to you're in your high school, starting off high school, and then you're starting university or college, where you have a lot of more, like a lot more work to do, more stress. And then one fact that I found that was a little bit like sad was the fact that one of the leading causes of death within our age group is suicide. And that's like it's a really tough subject to talk about, especially when you kind of you can't really wrap your head around like why someone would want to do that. But it's just those people, I guess, don't have or have a problem kind of speaking out, which is why we want to talk about it, because we want people to know that it's okay to have issues or to feel a certain type of way. And as friends and family and school and employers, you should always look out for your employees and the people around you to make sure that everyone's okay, because sometimes people will suffer in silence.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely lovely. You've got it spot on. So, the stats again out there say that the 14-year-olds and upwards, without even knowing they have any mental health issues, I mean, it could be something like depression, anxiety. It could be something like undiagnosed, like bipolar or schizophrenia. If they dabble with the drugs, with pot, even if it's legal, it can make the mental health issues worse. And it's difficult at that age to actually explain to someone that that isn't helping them. How would you go around that topic if you saw maybe someone you cared about, or, one of your good friends, if they continued, to do something that was making the mental health worse? Would you be able to speak to them, or would that be a tricky subject? I mean, I'm sure it must be tricky.
So in my situation, all my friends don't really do any drugs or anything like that. But I guess it's all about how you do them, I assume, because there's a point where you're abusing them, where you're just using it to cope with stuff. And I think that's where the big problem is if you're just using it for recreational purposes and you're just doing it socially with your friends, I don't see a big problem with it. But if you're actually using it to suppress feelings or kind of get like you depend on it, then the people around you have to kind of take note and just keep that person, I guess, just try to talk to them and try to be there for them. I know in my generation especially, it's really hard to get like genuine connections with your friends. I feel like social media has really kind of contributed to that, because a lot of people have like a lot of followers on Instagram or a lot of people on Facebook, and it's like you have the illusion of having friends and people around you, but then you don't have anyone that you could actually talk to. So making sure that you have friends and people that you can actually like open up to and talk to is extremely important as well, so that they can kind of help you out through all that.
You are very wise, you really are. That's very insightful, Aaron. And but you are so true. And I think obviously there's lots of mental health issues going on now with COVID, and a lot of people are turning to their friends on the social media sites and finding, correctly, like you stated, that they haven't got many friends. Nobody's there to listen to them, and that is a shame. And I think also social media tends to isolate us a little bit more, doesn't it? So if you're younger and you've grown up with it and you feel that that's the norm, being isolated and not having a different routine can also make the mental health issues, worse. I think you're completely right. If you're relying on, say, pot, any drugs are bad, obviously, but I suppose, if it's recreation, you're not doing it a lot. So getting back to the mental health issues, again, how to recognise if you need help. If you don't know yourself, it's a difficult situation to tell somebody. But I would always say to anybody listening, talk to your mom, talk to your dad, talk to your best friend, and if you need help, seek the help. If you've been reading my post, Aaron, or anything I've been posting, I was completely shocked to discover earlier this year that I was suffering from depression and anxiety due to COVID. And I said to my doctor, well, why now? I've been through such a lot. Why have I broken now? And she actually says that many, many people across Canada were having the same feelings as me because of the isolation and the fear factor for our family. And so, yeah, she put me on some medication, and I can hardly tell I'm on it. It's wonderful. It's working. Do you think some people are scared to go on medication for whatever reason?
Yeah, I think there's actually, I think with medication, I feel like there is still a stigma with being on it because of, at least in my perspective, it kind of makes it from like something that you can just talk to a therapist about to like something that actually wrong with you, like a chemical imbalance type of thing, and that makes it a lot more serious. Um, and then it also is about like how much, like your doses and all that, right? So I think it's a lot of people are scared of that because they kind of feel like, oh no, I don't want to do that because I've heard stories of people going off of their meds or having the wrong prescription and then doing worse harm to themselves. So I think that like just having an actual medication that you have to take makes it a lot more difficult for people. So I guess that's why they don't really want to do that type of stuff.
And that's a really good point. So I, like you mentioned, was very well. I don't really need medication. I've been talking to a psychologist, but in my case, I didn't have any motivation. I kept crying when I was very emotional. And I said to my doctor, well, I don't want to be on medication for the rest of my life. And obviously, what this is doing, it's helping me get strong again. Because did you know that any health issue can mean our immune system gets very run down and we can't fight even the common cold? So let's say someone like me, we are listening to our doctor, they're keeping an eye on us. We don't want to be on the medication now. If I'd been diagnosed with some bipolar, I mean, you've got bipolar for life, really, but you can live with it. Many famous people have it as well. So obviously you need medication then, and obviously you still need to, talk to your doctor about it. But you are right, and many people I know are on medication now for the rest of their life, and as long as the doctor takes care of them, there's nothing to be scared of. Suicide is very sad, and I feel bad for the people working with, the mental health workplace, because they have to, try and help their clients as much as possible. And when they lose one to suicide, they ask themselves the question, well, what more could we have done? But, I don't know whether this is true, but people who kind of say, well, I'm going to commit suicide, I maybe think that they are seeking help. But I think the ones who don't give any hints actually do go ahead and, take their own life, which is so sad, isn't it? So we've all got to work towards getting rid of that stigma and helping each other. But at college and university, I'm under the impression as well, when an individual is highly intelligent and, they are so, want to do everything and they're ahead of the class and everything, it seems to hit those people worse, doesn't it? Because they just want to keep on going, don't they?
Yeah, I find that it's really hard to kind of narrow down what type of personalities are the ones that are more like prone to mental health. Because sometimes it's the person that's laughing the most or the biggest smile or the one with a lot of energy, and they're the ones that are struggling the most. So it's really important to like, yes, that's just part of their personality, but to make sure that they are doing okay and like not just being like, hey, if you need to talk to anyone, just reach out, kind of hang out with them or try to do something social, take them outside of the house or do something nice with them so that you kind of show them that you do still care about that person. Like if it's your friend, try to hang out with them sometimes. Don't just like text and be like, how you doing today? You doing good? Okay. Because especially with guys, I find that it's kind of, a lot of guys don't talk about like their feelings at all. And one guy to another guy will just be like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. But inside, they're going to be really sad or dealing with a lot of stress or sadness. And it kind of, there's a big stigma behind that being like, oh, if you have feelings or you show emotion, you're less of a man. I know in my culture growing up, it was like men don't cry. So, yeah, I think the culture has a lot to do with that. And I think I was seeing somewhere that men, like there's a big, men commit a lot of suicide, I think. Like men are proportionally, they commit more suicide than women just because I think they hide their emotions a bit more. So it's sad. Yeah, I think getting rid of that stigma is something that's really important, especially for men.
That's a good message. It really is. So, some things that help me and a lot of other people, and probably we do in everyday life anyhow, walking, exercise, going to the gym. Some people love to paint. They're not, going to be an artist, but they just love to paint for fun. Listen to music. Um, Eating chocolate. I love to eat chocolate. So, we've got to find ways, even stress. Did you know stress is a mental health issue and it can lead to worse stress if we don't deal with it? So, do you ever get stressed, Aaron, apart from when you're talking to me?
Yeah, I get stressed. I get stressed all the time. But I'm really fortunate to know myself really well, so I do understand when I'm like high strung. Sometimes I'll tell people like, "Hey, sorry if I'm like being a little bit more confrontational. I'm just high strung right now, and I'm just a little bit on a lot of stress." It kind of usually happens during the midterms and exam seasons, as well as when I'm working a new job or position. Like I get a lot of stress because of that. Because I don't know, I just don't like change as much. But it's also, yeah, like you mentioned, it's really important to have hobbies and activities that you do, even if it's something simple like painting and just doing something different that gets you out of the same, like, what's it called, routine, to just make you happy and go on a walk. I don't like going on walks, but I've gone on walks before.
Oh, you'd make a good husband, for the simple reason, seriously, but we already talked about, well, I mean, you're a good friend too, obviously, but we've talked about men not wanting to talk about their emotions. So women often find with the husband, and I love the way you say to your friends, I know I'm being confrontational, but this is the reason. That's exceptional. I'm really proud of you for saying that. So let's imagine you're going to get married and meet the woman of your dreams. The worst thing a man can do is go quiet, and the woman doesn't know why, because they worry, oh, is he having an affair? Has he gone off me? So, if you're going to be that open with your friends, you are going to well, you don't have to get married. Obviously, you could just have a partner. But I mean, that's exceptional. You've got some really good things going for you there. That's wonderful. So do you want to leave our listeners with some wisdom from the great one?
I don't know if I'm the great one, but I'll definitely just say that make sure to like be there for your friends. Even if they say they're fine, if you know that they're starting a new job, or if they're starting their exams, or they have a big exam coming up, or they're having relationship issues, just make sure to reach out to them. Make sure that they know that they can talk to you no matter what, and don't judge them when they do talk to you. Just keep that to yourself. Don't tell anyone that they're going through anything unless they actually want you to tell people, just so that they can confide in you and tell you other stuff as well. But yeah, making sure that you have those connections with your friends, making sure that you have hobbies. Like for myself, I didn't play soccer for 3 years, and that's something that I felt like I was missing. So I ended up signing up for a soccer team this summer, and it made me a lot more I was a lot more happy doing that, and I just made more connections, and it like made me go outside when usually I do go outside, but I don't play team sports. So I was getting a little bit on the heavier side. So making sure that you have hobbies, and then understanding like it's okay to be stressed out and stuff, and try to reach out to your friends and family if you are feeling overwhelmed, as well as schools. They usually have counseling programs in most of this. I don't think I know of a school that doesn't have counseling services. So just reach out to them. There's always people, especially I think there's even a helpline, like a toll-free number that people can call if they are feeling like it's too much for them. So yeah, just reach out when you do need help is probably what I would say to our viewers. Is there anything that you'd want to leave the viewers with?
I think you've said it all. I really do. I do have a connection with the mental health organisation. My middle boy, Gary, actually works for them, and he helps youth with many, many challenges. And it is draining for the people who work in the organisation, but they have a calling. It's something they want to do. They want to help people. So now you've said it all, and you're very insightful. You've got a good head on your shoulders. So again, I'm going to have to say goodbye from me tonight.
Yeah, and I'm going to say goodbye as well for myself. But before that, just make sure for all of our viewers or listeners, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Next Gen Business Podcast, as well as our Instagram account. And if you want to be a guest on one of our episodes, make sure to just send us a DM on our Instagram or on our website. There's a little form that you can fill out, and then we can schedule it in for an interview. But yeah, it's going to be goodbye from me. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for listening. Check us out at www.nextgenbusinesspodcast.com.